This should be one of the best videos in a while. Um, whoops, hit the wrong button there. What are we doing here? Okay. So 719. I really, really, really think that's what I Pet Goat, now that I'm really looking at it, is showing us that it is July 19th. Because everything goes back sort of to the Chinese New Year. We know that James Bond, it is the year of the dragon, that he stood in the boat in the movie Skyfall with the right eye wound over his head, like he was in a trance, the scar over his right eye present. And he goes through the mouth of the dragon standing in the boat, just like the guy in I Pet Goat. The Pet Goat was the book Bush and them were reading in the classroom. So I Pet Goat 2 is an AI generated video. Yes, they have a front man attached to it, but we know how that works. And he goes through the mouth of the dragon standing in the boat. It's really hard to make this kind of stuff up, isn't it? Chinese New Year took place right before the Super Bowl. That's what the Super Bowl celebration was all about. The year of the dragon, the Chinese New Year. The Chinese New Year takes place. They have this reason of when and where and why it takes place. It is, I think, the second new moon after the winter solstice, if I'm not mistaken. Chinese New Year, second new moon after winter solstice.
According to Lamb Museum of Anthropology,
I don't know if you can hear this.
University, the holiday falls on the second new moon after the winter solstice on December 21st. Each year, the new year in China falls on a different date than on the Gregorian calendar. The dates usually range sometime between January 21st and February 20th.
And this year, it was February 9th, Chinese New Year's Eve, February 10th. The new moon hit 1758, which is 558 in February. Okay. Super Bowl was 2 days later. This new moon is in Aquarius. So I want to now go to, so we've established that. We've established James Bond. Now I want to go to I Pet Goat and what it's showing us. This is key. This is what everything I'm doing here is based off of. So let's just see. Darkness, light. The light in the sky represents the moon. But how many lights do we see? We see the sixth moon after the Chinese New Year. There's 6 lights up there. Sea goat is the sign of Capricorn, the 6th moon of the Chinese New Year. Is in Capricorn. So this first full moon is February 24th in the Chinese New Year, Year of the Dragon. Then you've got one in March. That's 2. April is 3. May is 4. June is 5. July is 6th. That's my birthday, July 6th. Haha, LOL. We don't celebrate birthdays here. And the full moon is at 6:16 a.m. It is in Capricorn, the sea goat. 1 hour later, one hour and 27 minutes later, the moon changes signs and goes into Aquarius. But his event would take place on July 19th with the moon in Capricorn, because it goes into Capricorn at 4:14 a.m. He is the goat, as all goats are goats, but he's the goat. He's the Antichrist. I pet goat. Goes down on Capricorn moon, rises on Capricorn moon. And that's what opens up I Pet Goat. The sixth moon, the sixth full moon, as they're all big circles up there, they're all representing full moons. This gets better because this all has to do with him making his speech the day before. And we do want to show the man standing in the boat. He's standing in the boat in a trance-like state, just like Bond was doing. There he is standing in the boat, just like Bond was doing. It's like Bond was in this trance. No expressions changed on his face. And this cat's in a trance. Now we're going to break to the Republican National Convention. The final night is July 18th. That would be when Trump would make his speech. It's the city of Milwaukee. They're the Milwaukee Bucks. The buck is all about regeneration, like we've shown you many times. If we go to the buck in Skyfall, Get Out had nothing but buck symbolism or deer antlers. Skyfall, which is this movie where he goes through the mouth of the dragon, had the buck on top of his home called Skyfall. That might be at my Trump page. But if we go, don't forget, I just saw the photo. Damien Thorne, the child's name, the Antichrist name, and the omen. Same initials as Donald Trump, same letters as Donald Trump. Damien Thorne. So here's Skyfall. Skyfall had the buck. Skyfall. And it's called the Buck Full Moon. Because it's all about regeneration. As the antlers fall off and they grow back. And Bond said his hobby was in the movie Skyfall, that his movie was, that his hobby was resurrection. Resurrection. There's the right eye wound that stayed on his eye basically throughout the entire movie. I Pet Goat Also gives us the buck rabbit. In the background of Lily. And it lights up because that's Year of the Rabbit, where this apple rolls and falls. And it says Trump exit because that's Trump's hand signal, his upside down pyramid hand signal. We also get, when he comes out, let me slow this down, where he is birthed. It's the moon in Capricorn. There's the water splashing like the water bear Aquarius, which takes place right after he's birthed. The moon goes into Aquarius, the water bearer sign. Robert F. Kennedy was shot right after his speech in an FAKE staged event. All actors on a stage. MLK made his very famous "Been to the Mountaintop" speech. The next day, he had his FAKE staged event. Been to the Mountaintop, striking sanitation workers speech at Mason Temple in Memphis, Tennessee. April 3rd, Alec Baldwin's birthday. The next day was his event, April 4th. They have him listed as dead. Probably not alive today. Oh, no, he would be. He was born in 57. Oh, no. No, he was born in 29. I don't know what I was thinking. I was looking at when he was in office. Probably not alive today, but would be at the same place that Kobe Bryant's at, and Heath Ledger, and many others. Robin Williams, just tons of them with their FAKE demise, all to affect how you think. Lesser magic rituals. So after speech, shot. After speech, shot. Republican National Convention, July 18th speech, July 19th, FAKE shot. More than likely a real event to something real, a body double or a clone, something. So that is the 6th full moon of the Chinese New Year. New moon takes place in Cancer, July 5th. I don't know. We're at a very high watch time right now. Because of iPet Goat, I like it going down, moon in Capricorn, rising with moon in Aquarius, or I like this also with going down in Capricorn, rising in Capricorn, and just right after the rising in Capricorn comes the Aquarius moon, the water bearer, the water splashing at the birth. I tell you, when you look at it, yeah, it's all because when he rises in IPEC Goat, of course he rises up through a full moon. So we always look 2 days before a full moon, and this, of course, works for 2 days before a full moon. And this will be the last thing I show you here. Did they lower the volume? No, still good on volume. And what you notice also is that it's snowing because this is the North Pole where the abyss is. That's why the villain is called Mr. Freeze, because God has frozen over the abyss. It's the center of the flat circle of the earth. Santa, Satan, Satan, Santa, same letters. Mr. Freeze, Disney's Frozen. Now you got Ghostbusters, Frozen. So they're at the North Pole. And the abyss is frozen. You see the ice. And he comes up through with his right eye wound. The right eye is utterly darkened. Remember, the Antichrist is 3 characters in IPEC Goat. It's the egghead boy being programmed. It's the boy rising up through the full moon. And it's the man in the boat. Then he comes up through. And there's your full moon in Capricorn / Aquarius within minutes. So July 19th is an extremely high watch date, even though I will also tell you so is April 2nd, which is tomorrow. But the 6th lights is in the full moon is what throws me over to July the most versus what's going on now, because you're not at a full moon right now. And why the 6 lights, if not for the whole Chinese New Year thing, which we showed you in Skyfall with the fireworks taking place, that is a New Year's celebration. That is a New Year's celebration when he's standing in that boat going through the mouth of the dragon. They're telling you it is the Chinese New Year. That's what the fireworks going off are for. Year of the Dragon, Chinese New Year, right eye wound. Expression never changes the whole time he's in that boat. He has a blank look on his face. Standing in the boat, just like the guy in IPEC Goat. He's going to go through the mouth of the dragon. Year of the Dragon. Fireworks are taking place. He's going through the rebirthing process. Chinese New Year. Right eye wound. Trance look on his face. Going through the mouth of the dragon. Pausing the video, I guess, because I'm talking in the video, because this is my video that I'm showing. And there he is standing in the boat again. And all the lights are in the water, kind of like all those lilies are in the water in IPEC Goat. When we go back to that, and he comes out The flame is in the boat where his feet are, and there's the lilies or the lotus. How many days after Lily's if we go to the flower full moon, that lily rolls out on the floor and it bursts into the lotus. How we've shown you it's 333 days when he's going to be at the 333 address in Green Bay. It's 333 days, but let's run it to the 19th. It's 441. Well, it's 1 year, 2 months, 14 days, which is 1214. 121 is Antichrist in simple gematria. 214, the 214th verse, is the crowning Bible verse in Revelation. So 214th verse of Revelation is the crowning of the Antichrist. And don't forget, 1214 is 1214, which was the midpoint of the two total solars that make the X cross America. It was also a total solar eclipse midpoint day. It was the day Biden got his electorals, and it was the first day the therapy was administered. So anytime you see 1214, 1214 code, that's a big deal. And then he would rise on, now don't forget the Dark Knight came out on 718, and all they're doing is moving it forward 719. They're progressing it. Dark Knight Rises came out on 720. Get it? Rose on the third day. They were 4 years apart, but they were both on leap years. 2008, 2012. Dark Knight Rises came out Year of the Dragon. It's Year of the Dragon again. So now you run it to you run it to 721, the full moon, the rising, and it's 1 year, 2 months, 16 days. That's 1216. Again, 121 is Antichrist in simple gematria, where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. But it's 1216, 216 is James Bond's car tag in most movies, as it's 6 times 6 times 6. So it does link up perfectly with Lily's flower full moon. So if this is the first time you're watching on any of these three channels, Lily is sitting there with 12 moons behind her. You see the two Siamese twins heads joined. That's this past August blue moon of 2023. This is the year 2023 with all these moons. And you see the blue moons. They're all blue because it's the year of the blue moon. And you see the August Siamese heads joined because there's two full moons in August. There's a blue moon. I believe it was August 1st, and I know the blue moon was August 30th. And you're like, well, that means there's 13 moons, but there's only 12 sitting behind her because she is the 13th moon. She is the total solar eclipse of 2023, which took place on April 20th. She then rolls. The new moon delivers. I mean, the solar eclipse always delivers. The solar eclipse is always a new moon. So she is the new moon delivering the flower full moon. As here comes the flower. This year, we also had a total solar eclipse, or we do have a total solar eclipse in April, but it does not give you the flower full moon. It gives you the pink full moon. Last year's eclipse was late in the month, so the full moon it delivered was in the month of May. This year, the new moon is early in the month. It's on the 8th, and it delivers the full moon on the 23rd. So there is your flower full moon. And all that is, because we thought he was going down on May 5th or going to rise on May 5th, going down on May 3rd last year. But what that is, it's a mathematical jumping point. And we just did the math and we saw how it connected to 121, 214, 121, 216 fusions. Big deals. If you've been on this channel for a long time, then you know anytime we get to December, 1214, 1216, those are big deals because of that 121, 214 fusion. The 214th verse of Revelation is the white horse crowning verse, which relates to the right eye wound of Zechariah 11:17. The deadly wound that the Antichrist seemingly returns from. Deadly wound, but did live. That's all found 3 times. The 214th verse is the first one. Did I just make a boo-boo? Hang on a second. The 214th verse is Revelation 13:3. That's the 213th verse of Revelation, 214th verse of Revelation. It's the first time deadly wound is mentioned. It's Revelation 13:3. That's what the 214 is. It's not the crowning Bible verse. That's what number is that? How come I can't think of that? It's always in my head now. It's just disappeared. The 214th verse of Revelation is the first time deadly wound is mentioned, which also is the crowning of Revelation 6:2. I just don't know why I can't remember what verse that is. But anyway, glad I was able to correct that before we hung up. So that 121, 1214, 121 Antichrist fused with Revelation's 214th verse, 214, is the first time deadly wound, but did live, is mentioned. It's Revelation 13:3, 13:12, and 13:14. That's right. It's the 98th verse is the white horse crowning verse. The 214th verse of Revelation, like we said, is the first time, after we corrected it, is the first time deadly wound is mentioned. So anytime we see that 1214, and on 1214, the 1214 code of December 14th, 1214, 2020. Yes, that year 2020. It was the first day they dished out the therapy. It was also when Biden got his electorals. His middle name is Robin. Trump said he was Batman. They're all in the same squad, running this earth right into the end times, pretending to be enemies. Everything's a joke. Mystery Babylon thinks they're in total control like 2020. That's what 2020 was about, was for them to flex on the earth, shutting down every city on the earth, showing that they can, giving them confidence to trust the process that then takes place the next leap year in 2024. Corona means crown. The Antichrist receives his crown. The illness was called the crown. It was the ritual for what's coming this year. But that December 14th was also a total solar eclipse in 2020. December 14th was a total solar eclipse that just happened to be the exact midpoint of the two total solar eclipses that make the X across America. These are big deals, aren't they? Of course they are. All right, love y'all.